Income inequality is so pervasive and obvious right now in the West that it's impossible to ignore, the cause of which tends to be misconstrued and misrepresented. Ultimately, those in the highest order are always finding new means of attaining a larger percentage of the total wealth pool. Those on the bottom always find themselves with less and less. Could it be intentional? You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today we are going to talk about wealth. Let's begin. The wealthiest 1% of American households own 40% of the country's wealth. That's according to a new report. And this has been the case for quite some time. I've shown you similar charts before, but let's get into it right now. You can see the ultra wealthy are taking more of the pie. And as time goes on, we can see that this spread in between the haves and the have-nots has become worse and worse. This chart goes back from 1962, but we notice that from approximately, I would say, the year 2000 or so, there has been this very big problem. As time goes on, those in the highest order are somehow able to attain more and more, whereas those in the bottom, everybody else, get the short end of the stick. So let's talk about the pie. Let's look at it. Actual pie distribution. The top 20%, average net worth of $3 million, they get 90 slices of pie. Those in the middle 20% are getting 2 slices of pie. So you see the disparity that is very clear, it's very evident in between the middle 20 and the top 20%. But we can break that down even further. And I would like to go into that right away. Let's look at this. The top 1%, average net worth $26 million. They get 40 slices of pie. And it goes down into the middle 20%, where you get the 2 slices of pie. And I like how this is broken down because you can see the top 20% or you can see the top 1%. And I would really like to stress the importance of focusing on where the power and the wealth really lies. And that is from the top 1% and up. It's really the 0.001%. And of course, the more concentrated you go, the more power, the more wealth there is. But at least we should be addressing the 1% and beyond. Generally, people look at this bracket and judge them. The second 20%. And I think this is not something that most people should do, because these are people who are spending a lot into the economy. Now think about this. If a household is earning $273,000, they're getting 8 slices of the pie, right? No doubt they're getting more so than you and I. But this may be an individual who's a lawyer, for example, or he's a high net worth type of person, they call, and maybe has a luxury car. Maybe he has 3 luxury cars in the driveway. Maybe he lives in the nicer neighborhood, and perhaps his taxes are at 50%. They don't have all the loopholes that many people do. It's not that 1% class that doesn't have to pay tax. This is that guy down the street driving a nice car. And I believe that a lot of the attention is focused here when it should really be focused here. Let's remember where the power, where the wealth is really concentrated, and focus our attention on that. All the loopholes, they say tax the rich. And this is a very silly concept because what they're talking about is the people in this region right here. They're not talking about the 1%. They don't pay tax. They absolutely do not pay tax. And if they do, it's a minuscule amount. They're able to put their money into different places and able to make it disappear. Rothschilds, anybody? And so, That's what I wanted to address here. Now, of course, as time goes on, guess what? Everybody, whether they're in the second class or the bottom 20, you're looking at a depreciating state. So let me reiterate, the second 20 or the bottom 20, you're going down. And so we have those in that 1% class. This supposed Leonardo da Vinci's Salvator Mundi, it sold for $450 million. I'm sure you saw that. Most expensive piece of art ever purchased. And it was found out that the Saudis bought it, right? So this is something that is showing you there are some people out there with extreme wealth, that they can afford a $450 million piece of artwork. That shows you how much wealth one individual has. And of course, this is after all the crackdown that was occurring there. I wonder if there was some looting taking place. But anyway, then we have this other end of the spectrum, where despite the odd things that appear in this picture, but this is the other end of the spectrum. I'm not allowed to talk about it here, but you know what I'm getting at. This as well, there was an outbreak that's going on as we speak, and it's been a problem as the days have gone on, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better. That's in San Diego. And even here in Toronto, where everything is so fine and dandy. Just to give you an idea, one little small piece, this right here, the tower, CN Tower, just to give you an idea of where things are. Over here, I happen to spot just for myself a little encampment that's going on. There's a dog park here. Next to the dog park, a little temporary situation that's happening there. Side note for everyone, this right here is where Google is intending on building. I covered that here before. We'll see what happens. But in any city, you find the disparity. And I want you to look at all of these buildings, okay? This right here, bank. This right here, bank. These ones here, if I'm not mistaken, it's hard to see, but these are all banks. Every single one is some sort of financial company. And those at the top of those financial companies, they're earning much larger salaries than those in the middle and the bottom. That's for sure. But the corporation itself, those are the ones that are able to attain the highest percentage of the pie, and continuing to increase that as time goes on. And every crisis that follows, they're able to eviscerate the public and get more and more. That's the way this works. So that's all for this video. If you found it informative, please give me a thumbs up. When you give me a thumbs up, it supports me. It supports this channel. So I do appreciate that very much. When you comment, when you subscribe. My goal here is 100,000 subscribers, and we're going for it. I hope that you will support me in that, and glad to see you all here. If you found the video informative, I know you'll find my books, The Money GPS, and my newer release, Global Economic Collapse, even more informative. You can flip through these books at Amazon. They have a look inside feature, and it's going to allow you to flip through the pages of these books to see if you like them. Take care.